Give me this beautiful jeweled
Gorgeous.
hand.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Stunning. We are about to take a trip in the time machine. Here we go. Wow. Look at us. We're in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, look at there's little Scarlet running through a beautiful field.
Put some pants on.
Wait, she has two moms. Look at that.
She does.
Beautiful.
Aww.
Now, oh, look, there you are with your two moms.
There they are. Hi, Mom.
Now, Scarlet, this is another mystery to solve.
Okay.
How the heck was two moms not a huge plot point on RuPaul's Drag Race?
Well, let's start at the beginning. When a woman and a woman love each other very much. No, I'm not sure. I can't really answer it. It was discussed.
Right.
But, their coming out process is their coming out process, just as anyone's is their own. So we did have that conversation privately a couple years ago. But, they weren't very public about it until a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very careful until, the closet door was all the way open.
I see.
To, share a story that's not necessarily mine.
I get it, yeah.
But yeah, they're getting married in 2020.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to little you. What were you like as a kid?
I'd say I was a good kid. I don't know if my parents would agree. I was really good at not getting caught. But I had fun. I have 3 little sisters I grew up with, so I taught, I was teaching them how to crawl out of the crib and, how to straddle the toilet and, the things that you teach your baby siblings as babies.
Now, when did you start playing with makeup?
I remember maybe when I was like 10 years old, I got in trouble for having eyeliner on. It was like not allowed, I tried to wipe it off, and I was so embarrassed because I didn't get it all off, and there was residue. My family was like, "What is that on your face? What's happening?" It's like, nothing, it's fine. Little did I know, when I walked into the workroom of Drag Race, I would also be wearing no makeup at all.
Was your family conservative?
Very. Very. Dad was a deacon. Mom was teaching aerobics in church, like the church aerobics.
Church aerobics are my favorite kind. What about you, Lady Brad?
Yes, Jesus aesthetics.
Jesus aesthetics, exactly.
Yeah, Jesus aesthetics. Yeah.
So now, how did that come into play when you started to realize that you were gay?
Well, gay people can do aerobics too.
We do it better than
We do a
anybody
lot
else.
of aerobics. Yeah. I didn't come out until I moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of knew what I was doing when I did that. Gave myself no option at all. I went to FIT. Big shocker, by the way. I'm a homosexual.
Surprise.
Surprise. Everyone else is here too. But yeah, I think I kind of warmed up the waters a little bit for my family in terms of, I never really adjusted who I was. I just didn't have the conversation. I wore what I wanted to wear, and I was in the theater in high school. I was a child actor, and that was the only way to get out of math class, was to like, sorry, I have a show.
Right. What were
I'll be back in
what were your
third period.
greatest teen roles?
Well, I play Ollie in The Best Christmas Pageant Ever.
Okay.
Which is a herdman with like 1 or 2 lines. Yeah, I did like some commercials and just, modeling and TV work growing up, basically. My mom was runner-up for Miss Kentucky 1983.
Wow.
And did a lot of commercials herself.
So you had a pedigree to live up to.
Well, I did. You could say that. I look more like my mom today than I ever have before.
I bet. Does she like that?
She just doesn't wear pants.
Okay, that's how it does.
Yeah.
She loves a sparkly hat, and she does not wear pants, and she does Jesus aerobics.
She
all
does
around
still
the
do
town.
Jesus aerobics, I think. A little less Jesus, but a lot more aerobics.
So were you out to yourself when you were in high school and just not out to
No.
everybody else? So it was when you got to New York and to FIT, and they were like, Qween, please.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to have the conversation in person. And my mom was the one who moved me into my dorm room. So I knew I had to have that conversation with her before she left. And it was the day before she left, and I sat and I lost it at a Starbucks on 7th Avenue. It was just, no surprise to her, really. No surprise to anyone around me. But it was a process that, as I said before, you have to do yourself. You have to take your time and do it on your own, in your own way. So that was the way I was doing it. And she had a great reaction, of course, but then did have to leave the next day. And so I woke up the next morning being honest with myself and started my life in New York, I think, the most honest way I possibly could. After 18 years of not doing so in Kentucky and fighting it. I'm very vocal about conversion therapy. I was in for many years.
Wow.
So I was not out to myself in that way. I was fighting it.
Wow.
Very hard.
How many years in conversion therapy?
2 years.
And what did that entail?
Well, it was religious-based, of course.
Right.
So a lot of homework and journaling and books and workbooks and
Temptation. Skipping, and because we were talking with Monique Hart about that too.
Yeah.
Did you end up being a leader of your group?
Well, it was solo. It was not group therapy.
Okay.
It was just me and a very cute therapist.
That is asking for trouble.
It sure was. It sure was.
Who also was secretly gay too.
I mean, right?
Right.
He must have been.
And that's how the two of you ended up married.
Yeah. He's actually right here behind the couch. Come on out, sweetie.
What a slut. Look at him.
I know.
So when you finally got to New York and felt free enough to break out of that must have been a big moment.
It was. It was a breakthrough, for sure. I was going to school, for fashion and advertising and wearing what I wanted, and it was just, I think, the final step in that, embracing that.
So you were there to be a fashion designer, or what were you studying?
I have a communications design associate's degree and a bachelor's in fashion advertising.
Now, how did you get one bit of homework or go to one class going to school in New York City where the call of the nightlife is so strong?
It sure is. I don't know how I did it. It was just no sleep. You burn the candle from both ends. You're at school all day, and then I had my first show was on Friday nights in Williamsburg that I would do, and they made the mistake of giving me a microphone and a couple shots of whiskey and hoped everything went okay, and it did. It did for a long time.
Now, what was your first exposure to drag? Was that also when you were in New York?
No, actually. My first drag queen was in high school. My mom was an event planner and did weddings for a while. My parents got divorced. She had to find work and, found what she could, and that's what it was for a couple years in high school. And I would go and help her with events sometimes, set up chairs for weddings, break down stuff. And there was an event, it was a Halloween party for some corporation, and she hired a drag queen. It was a Joan Rivers impersonator to interview them as they came in on a red carpet.
That's
Asked them what they were wearing.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was immediately obsessed. I fell in love right away. Made sure I was the one to drive the drag queen home that night. And, kind of talked to her about what it was and what is she doing and how did my mom find you. And so that was my very first drag queen. I forgot for years that was the first queen I interacted with. And so it's my mom's fault, I guess, huh?
I guess her and Joan Rivers.
Her and Joan Rivers.
Can we talk?